Just write some keywords that will help you when you have to retell the thing that is summarized, whatever you have heard. Now, this is, again, a great way to think in English, because when it's time to retell, you will be thinking about what you have just heard. It's a great way to start thinking in English because when you try to remember what you have listened to, you'll be thinking, "Hi, everybody. How are you all? Hope you're doing great and your English language learning is going great. Today, I'm back with a very important topic, thinking in English." Now, thinking in English is one of the most important aspects of speaking fluent English. I think you all must agree. This is something that a lot of people find difficult. How to think in English, how to start thinking in English. So this is one of those topics, those hot topics, that everyone wants to know about. But the thing is, how to think in English. What exactly do you need to do to think in English? Today, I'm going to tell you 3 such techniques which will help you develop this habit of thinking in English. Do you want to know about them? I'm Connor, your Center-certified English language tutor, and you're watching 24/7 English Before Beginning. Please subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss out on any lesson that I post. You get 1 English video lesson every day on this channel, and if you find this video to be helpful, please like it and share it with your friends. Now, let's begin with the lesson. Thinking in English. Now, thinking in English is a very important aspect of speaking fluently, because when you are thinking in English, you'll be able to articulate, that is, the way you speak, in a better way. Your fluency will increase, and the way you're forming sentences will be more appropriate. Plus, you'll be able to speak more about a particular topic, or you'll be able to carry forward the conversation for a much longer time in English. Now, how to think in English. See, thinking in English is not just a habit, it's a skill that we need to master. I consider this a skill because thinking in English comes with time and practice. Yes, believe me, you can develop a habit of thinking in English, and then you can become perfect at this particular skill, which will help you increase your fluency. Now, do you want to know those 3 techniques that I have today for you that will help you think in English? Okay, let's talk about the techniques. Technique number 1, picture description. Now, I've talked about the benefits of picture description before, and I have told you how you can use this particular technique to practice your English speaking when you're alone. How to practice your English speaking. But do you know this is a great way to start thinking in English too? So, steps for picture description to think in English are a bit different than what we are going to take for speaking practice, because our target here is different. In the last video, I discussed speaking practice. The target was different. Today, the target is to think in English, so the steps are going to differ a bit. Let's talk about this technique in detail. First of all, what you need to do, step number 1, is select a picture. You need to select a picture for that. Do you want to do it with me right now? Let's do it. This is the picture. You can see it on your right-hand side. So, this is the picture. Now, you have to talk about it. No, 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 no. You have to think in English. You don't have to talk about it. So, the next step is to analyze this picture. Observe everything in the picture. Pay attention to what is there, each and every object. Okay, think about every object, everything in English. Look at the colors. Look at everything that is there, maybe actions, if any. So, you need to observe this particular picture for 1 minute. Now, when you have observed it, you have paid particular attention to the color, to the theme, to the objects, to what's going on. Now, speak about it. Okay, first, form simple sentences, or just talk about it. What you can see in this picture. Let's talk about it. It's a beautiful picture. The sky is blue. There are clouds. I can see some birds. The people look happy. It appears that they are doing a morning walk. They are relaxing. There are trees. It appears to be a morning scene. So, you have to describe everything that you see in this picture, that you see in a picture. Describe everything in detail. Speak about it out loud. So, you need to analyze everything. What you can do is you can even break this step down. If you think that speaking about this picture so much is difficult, then you can break things down. First of all, speak single words. For example, blue sky, green trees, happy people, a tall girl. There are birds. It appears to be a morning scene. So, speak about small things, like speak in single words or maybe describe things separately. After that, it'll be really easy for you to form all the sentences just like I did. So, whatever is coming to your mind, you have to speak about the picture, and this will help you in thinking in English. Why? Because when you're looking at the picture, you are trying to think everything in English. What is going on? What is happening? What's there in the picture? You're speaking about it in English. This is a great way to develop your thinking in English skills. Okay, let's move on to technique number 2. Technique number 2. Daily routine. Narration. Daily routine narration is a great way, again, to think in English without giving any extra time. This is something that you can do daily, something that you can include in your day without spending any extra or separate time. So, if you are really busy and have a tight schedule, definitely use this technique. It will help you develop your ability to think in English without spending too much time. Now, how to begin? Where to begin? What can you do? I suggest starting with your morning routine. Think about your morning routine, what you're going to do, plan your day, and then speak about it out loud. When you wake up in the morning, you must have something in mind, what you're going to do that day, whether you're going to the office or it's a holiday. You must have some idea of how your day will go, right? That is what you need to do. Plan your day in the morning, and when you're doing it, think in English. It's a great activity to develop your thinking power in English. For example, you can plan your day like this. Today, I have to reach the office 15 minutes early because I have a very important presentation. After giving my presentation in the morning, I would like to talk to my senior about the progress of the project we are working on. I plan on going out for lunch with one of my colleagues because we want to talk and catch up. After that, in the evening, I think I'll do some of my pending work that I was supposed to submit yesterday but was not able to. I think after coming back home, I would like to watch a movie tonight. This way, you're planning your whole day, thinking in English, and speaking in English too. Either you can just think about it, or if you really have time, you can speak it out loud. You'll be killing two birds with one stone, thinking in English and practicing speaking. Isn't it great? Another thing you can do is, apart from planning your day, talk about your daily activities. What you're doing also comes under daily routine narration. For example, you can summarize your whole day in the evening. Today, I woke up early. I had some time, so I did some yoga. When I reached the office, there was a meeting going on, and we talked a lot about the ongoing project. After that, all of us had a great lunch party, and I enjoyed it a lot with my colleagues. That way, you are describing your whole day, which is again a great way to think in English. It's a great way to start thinking in English because you're thinking about your daily routine, the things that you are doing. By incorporating English into your daily processes, it becomes easier to think in English. It's a great way to think in English. Start doing it. Okay, the last technique for the day. Technique number 3. Technique number 3. Listen and retell. This is not just about listening. You're not just listening. You have to retell. Now, what is retelling? Listening is important because it helps you think in English. How are you going to think in English if you don't know a lot of English words or sentences? Listening exposes you to a range of vocabulary and sentence structures. Basically, listening exposes you to real English, real usage of English, and that's very important. The first step in this procedure is to select a good audio. It can be anything, a video on YouTube, not necessarily an educational video. It can be any video related to your topic of interest. For example, it can be a video of your favorite vlogger or chef. Whatever it is, it must be in English. Remember, we're talking about English, so it must be in English. It can be a talk show, an interview, or whatever you like. Select a video on YouTube. There are ample topics out there. Otherwise, you can select a podcast or a TV show, though those may be a bit lengthy. So, I suggest keeping it short and crisp. 15 minutes, 20 minutes, that's it. Listen to the thing. Now, when you're listening, pay attention to what people are saying, okay? Pay attention to whatever is being said in the audio. If you want, you can even make small notes. Just write some keywords that will help you when you have to retell the thing. That is, summarize whatever you have heard. Now, this is again a great way to think in English because when it's time to retell, you will be thinking about what you have just heard. And it's a great way to start thinking in English because when you try to remember what you have listened to, you'll be thinking in English because whatever you listened to was in English, isn't it? That's why it's a great way to develop this habit of thinking in English. So, once you're done with listening, think about it for some minutes. Revise it in your head, and then you can either speak everything out loud, or if you're not comfortable speaking out loud, retell everything in your mind. Just think about it silently. Summarize whatever you have listened to in your own words. Use your own words. You don't have to say all the sentences exactly. No, it should be in your own words. That's the key point. Use your own words. Retelling means you're telling it, not copying the speaker. You don't have to copy the speaker. Number. Retelling means you have to use your own words, your style, your way of speaking, your way of thinking, your way of forming the sentences. But this activity is going to improve your English skills a lot, so please do that. Speak everything out loud and see the change it's going to bring to your English and your process of thinking in English. So these were the 3 techniques through which you can think in English and become fluent in English, because we all want to become fluent English speakers, don't we? So adopt these 3 techniques, and definitely you will start thinking in English. That's it for today. That was the lesson. Now, I'm going to see you tomorrow. Till then, take care and bye. Lesson number 2. Hi, guys. So first of all, tell me, what are you thinking right now? Okay, now tell me, are you thinking in English or in Hindi or any other language that is your mother tongue? Can you guess the topic for today? Well, the topic is how to think in English, because thinking in English is a challenge, and it is quite important if you want to become fluent in English. If you want to become a fluent English speaker, if you want to speak good English, impeccable English, you need to start thinking in English. So, thinking in English is a very important aspect of speaking. Now, most of the time, what happens is we are thinking in our mother tongue. Whatever is our mother tongue, Hindi, any South Indian language, or a European language, for example, German or Italian. Whatever it is, most of the time, we are thinking in our mother tongue, and that is a problem. If you want to become a fluent speaker, we have to start thinking in English. Now, why is it important to think in English? It is important to think in English because what happens is, whenever you want to speak something, you are translating in your mind or in your head. So, if you want to say something, what you do is you translate everything, because we are thinking in our mother tongue. We are thinking the answer in our mother tongue, or whatever we want to say. Even if we want to ask a question, whatever the conversation is about, whatever we are speaking, we think it in our mother tongue and then translate everything. This makes you a slow speaker. It slows down your pace, and when it slows down your pace, it can also become a conversation ender. Basically, if you are talking to somebody and you're taking too much time to speak, you might feel low confidence. You might even hesitate before speaking due to this particular problem that you're translating in your head. In order to stop that translation, we need to start thinking in English so that you can speak faster, come back with quick responses while having a conversation, and sound more fluent. Because when you are thinking in English, the words are going to come from your mind directly to your mouth. You'll have less response time, and less response time means more fluency. So, if you have less time, if you're responding to anything in less time, that means you are a fluent speaker. You will be able to speak more fluently. For example, like I'm speaking right now, I'm not thinking anything in my mother language. Whatever I am speaking right now, it is coming in English from inside with a flow. And in order to develop this kind of flow, we have to start thinking in English. The big question is how to do that. How to start thinking in English. Now, you must have heard about it before too, that you need to think in English. But to start thinking in English, or how to do that, that is the big question and the biggest challenge that any English learner or English speaker faces. Now, what can we do? I have lots and lots of strategies, and out of those strategies, I am going to talk about a few. So, a few strategies today I'm going to tell you in this particular video. First of all, I want to address that when we are doing this, when we are approaching all these strategies, there is a step-by-step process. So, You need to watch every step, listen to every step that I am telling you, and then follow it. And definitely, you will develop this habit of thinking in English in order to become fluent. So, let's begin. See, when you have to start thinking in English, you cannot do it directly. Like, you cannot completely start thinking in English, everything at a single go. Or suddenly, you are thinking in your native language, and suddenly there is a point you will start thinking everything completely in English. This will not happen. You have to replace things slowly and gradually, in small percentages. So, you have to start small, and then take it to the bigger level. Now, how to start small? That means you have to start thinking in words. Stage number 1. So, the stage number 1 is you need to start thinking in words. Now, how do you do that? And what is this all about? Start thinking in words. At this stage, stage number 1, you need to start thinking in small words. For that, what you can do is sit and observe your surroundings. Even if you are traveling, you can still do this activity. If you take time out deliberately to do this activity, I think that is excellent, because then your mind is totally going to focus on this particular task, developing the habit of thinking in English. Even if you don't have time and you're traveling, you can still do this. You can do this particular activity anytime, anywhere. This kind of activity is what I am telling you now. In stage 1, you have to observe everything around yourself. You have to start thinking in words. You need to look at an object and think about the object in English. For example, you have to say wall. You will not say the name or anything else in your native language, right? Even if you are sitting alone and no one is there, you can speak out loud. However, here, I'm saying you have to think in your mind because we need to develop the habit of thinking in English. It's important that you do silent speaking, that is, speaking in your mind. You need to think about it. So you will say wall, flower pot, laptop, table, chair, curtains, book, bookshelf, sofa, sofa chair, showpiece, or whatever it is. You need to speak in English. Then think about other things that can be related to that or anything that is around you. You need to speak that particular thing or think about it in English. For example, if you see any kind of clothing item, say clothes, do not think about it in your native language. Say clothes, cupboard, and so on. Not in your native language, but in English. Think about it as cupboard, table, laptop, toothbrush, toothpaste, cell phone, or smartphone, towel, handkerchief. You need to start thinking in words. Replace common words used for day-to-day objects with their English equivalents. The things around you should now be thought of in English. This is the first step, replacing the native or mother tongue words with English. For example, my mother tongue is Hindi. So I need to replace the Hindi words with English. We have to start small. This is your stage 1. Now do it. Think about it, look at it again and again, and think about it. Do this activity continuously for some days, and this is going to develop your habit of speaking in English. Whenever you look at an object, you'll think about it in English. When you're going to speak, you are going to use the English word, the English vocabulary, if you're talking about that particular thing. Now, stage number 2. What do you need to do? Stage number 2 is you need to describe the word or say something related to the word. For example, you have said laptop. Now say something related to it. Any word related to it. This is your stage number 2. So, laptop, big laptop, gray laptop, electronic laptop, or pink flower pot, pink flowers, small flower pot, cute flower pot. You have to say words related to that particular thing or object in order to develop your thinking in English. Because whenever you are going to speak these words in your mind, you are saying everything in the mind, you are thinking about it, not speaking out loud. Remember that. So, whenever you think about them, think about all the words. It's going to reinforce your vocabulary. Now, reinforce, what does reinforce mean? Reinforcement is you know something, but again and again you are revising it, revisiting it, and hence it is going to develop into a habit, or it is going to become permanent. So, when you are going to think about all these words time and time again, they are going to become permanent in your mind. And when you are going to speak, you won't have to think about it. You don't have to put pressure on your mind to think and to try if the vocabulary in English. You won't be thinking in your mother tongue, in Hindi. No, you will be thinking in English, at least for these particular words that we are covering right now. You will be able to think in English. Now, when you have perfected this, you have done this activity for a few days, you're comfortable. Now, it's easy for you. You need to move to stage number 3. That is, think in sentences and phrases. So, stage number 3, when you have to think in sentences and phrases, it is all about how you can form sentences regarding something. It does not have to be about an object. It's good if you can form sentences for this object, definitely, but now you have to move towards describing something else or thinking about your day, probably in English. For example, if you're feeling hungry, do not think about it in your native language, in mother tongue. No, think about it as, for example, I'm feeling hungry. So, think like that in your mind. Small sentences. Think in small sentences. If you're getting ready, let's get ready. If you're going to take a bus, I have to catch a bus. Start thinking in English. Small phrases, small sentences related to what you're doing or about your surroundings. Take something from your surroundings. Even if you're getting ready, it is something you're doing, and it is related to your surroundings, whatever is there in your surroundings. So, when you are going to think about small sentences, English sentences related to your day-to-day activity, related to your surroundings, again, you will develop your ability to think in English, because these sentences are going to then, again, reinforce in your mind, and it will become easier for you to retrieve the information when you are speaking. So, at the time of any conversation, you will be able to remember everything in English easily, and the habit of translation is going to cut down. Now, you have to describe the things, whatever is there in your surroundings. Start speaking about it in sentences. This is a cute flower pot. This is a small flower pot. Look, the flower pot is kept on the table. This laptop is very useful for me. I do a lot of work on my laptop. Apple makes the best laptops in the world. So you need to speak lots and lots of sentences. small sentences. I'm not saying, start with complex sentences at the beginning. Small sentences, small phrases. Think about that in English. And this is going to develop your ability to think in English and your fluency a lot. Believe me, this is a game changer. It is going to help you. Now the question is, for how long should you do it? I think you should at least give this activity 30 days. Do it for 30 days in order to develop your ability to think in English. 30 days is the minimum time period I think that you can give to it, and a satisfactory time period to see some kind of change in your speaking and the way you are thinking. So definitely you will see a change in your thinking. You will see the way English comes to you from within. It is going to develop your fluency and the ability to think in English. Now, this was the 3-stage process of developing your ability to think in English. There are also other ways through which you can develop your ability to think in English. Plus, whatever I'm going to tell you now, you have to take care of that while applying this 3-stage process too. So, whatever I'm going to tell you now, it is applicable separately and in combination with the 3-stage process. So now, the technique number 2. This was the technique number 1 that we just discussed. Observe your surroundings and the 3-stage process of doing that. Now, this technique number 2, or the point number 2 through which you can basically develop your habit of thinking in English, is do not use a bilingual dictionary. That is, a dictionary that is going to translate things for you. Or do not open Google Translate and translate things. Please don't do that. You have to cut down on translation. If you are watching this video, that means you have an understanding of the English language. And if you can understand the basic English language, that means it is time for you to stop translating. So, stop translation as a method of learning. When you will learn from a bilingual dictionary, it is going to hinder your ability to think in English. If you want to think in English, use a monolingual dictionary in the target language. And the target language here is English. So, our target language is English. We have to always use an English-to-English dictionary, where the word is in English, and it is described using English words. For example, Oxford, Cambridge, and Macmillan. These 3 dictionaries are the ones that I love a lot. Cambridge Dictionary, Oxford Dictionary, Macmillan Dictionary, the best 3 dictionaries, I believe. So, you can definitely refer to them, and it is helpful when you keep these dictionaries with you. So, if you want to refer to a word, please use a monolingual dictionary. That is, an English dictionary only. You need to cut down on your translation altogether. Now, the method number 3 is you need to read. Reading is important. If you want to develop your ability to think in English, you need to read, because reading helps in the development of your language a lot. When you are reading, you are consuming. It is a consumption of content in your target language. So, when you're reading in English, automatically, there's a lot of vocabulary you're exposed to. Sentence structure, sentence formation. Even without cramming up the formulas or maybe the sentence structure, the rules and everything, you will naturally develop your English skills. And when you are going to read, you are subconsciously going to pick language. You're subconsciously going to pick phrases, vocabulary, words that you will use in your conversations later on. You will not even realize that you have picked this up. But when you will read, and it is not going to come in one day, it's not. You are reading for 2 days and thinking, now I have mastered reading, and I will start thinking in English. It is a habit that you need to develop. Read in English. Reading helps in the development of your thinking ability a lot. So, reading is actually directly related to creativity. When you read, your thinking ability increases, and if your thinking ability is increasing, then the language you're targeting while reading, that particular language, is going to be there in your mind when your thinking abilities are going to increase. Are you understanding? It's a bit complex. It's not so easy. The thing is that reading in itself, whatever you're reading in itself, helps in your thinking ability. That means your mental process, the way you are perceiving things, the way you think. It develops that. When you're reading in a particular language, your ability to think in that language also gets enhanced. So, getting double benefit, you are naturally developing your brain with the ability to think in English if you're reading English content. So, it is recommended to read in English because reading in English is important for you to develop your ability to think in English. So these were all the points that I discussed with you today, and I hope you are going to follow all of them. If you do, you will see a change. Definitely, you're gonna see a change. So, I suggest start doing it from today. Start it, and then see the change that it is going to bring in your language. It's going to change your fluency game. Definitely, it is going to. So, start working from today now, so that you can get maximum benefits from all of the lessons that I am bringing for you. I hope you liked it. You're going to follow it, and you are going to improve your English fluency. Please like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel if you're new here. I'm going to meet you tomorrow at 8 a.m. Till then, take care and bye.